until you've actually worked out your tech. Yesterday was a little frustrating because we just had two fails. It's okay. It's not a, we can get around it, but you're going to have to do your part to actually test and make sure that um, your tech is working. And the best way to do that is to actually just, um, have study partner sessions with your camera as you're supposed to and your microphone as you're supposed to. And then the chances are, and a word about technology, I just want to say something about technology. It's your attitude about technology that's much more important. So actually, all right, everyone. So Rod, you can hear me. Thank you from Scotland and Milan. Hello. I see other people, Mara, Brett, Travis. Make sure you've actually typed in the chat and you're present. I want to talk to you about technology. A lot of artists will say that they're tech phobic, and you have got to change your attitude about that. That is a self-limiting belief. It's going to seriously impact you in the future. I empathize with that. I had some tech phobia myself, and I'll tell you what happened. I was complaining about I have to actually coordinate a huge stack of technology in order to deliver an online program to artists in 20 countries and counting. So it's a bit of a challenge. It's not as simple as having an e-commerce site and a CRM, also known as a customer relation management system like MailChimp or ConvertKit, right? I have a huge stack. And I was complaining to my coach about this. And I was saying how frustrated I was about coordinating all of the technology. It just wasn't something that I liked to do. And she said, well, you own a technology company. So if you don't like technology, how well is that going to go? And I thought, point taken. Guess what, artists? You now own a technology company because art galleries are closed and you can't currently host any receptions or go to any shows. So what are you left with? You're left with a technology company. That's not bad news. It's actually pretty good news because the fact of the matter is technology is powerful and it allows us to connect in ways that we never thought possible. So I would embrace it, make it your friend. Speaking of which, my screen just got super freaking huge. And so it's not a friend right now. There we go. So you've got to embrace, and here's what technology is all about. It's really simple. First of all, you can't break it, really, unless you delete stuff. Then you can break some stuff, right? Because you can remove data. Really, mastering technology is about having an attitude that you're going to master technology, and you can master technology if you can just read the directions. That's really all it is. All the technology platforms that are out there, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or Zoom or Calendly, I'm just naming a few that you might be familiar with, they want you to be able to use their damn technology. They have a vested interest in you learning their technology. So all of them provide really clear user documentation and lessons. And so people will ask me, well, do you teach Instagram in the Making Art, Making Money program? Do you teach how to use Facebook or to run ads? No, I don't. And the reason I don't is because I will not charge you for information that you can get for free on these platforms. It wouldn't be cool. What I will teach is what to say in these platforms, okay? And that's key because most artists are banging on their keyboards doing and making a lot of content, but they're really making a lot of noise because they don't know who they're talking to and they don't know what their unique value proposition is. In other words, if you're in making art, making money language, they don't know what their mission is, their what, their why, they don't know what their creative purpose is, they don't know what their mission is, they don't know how they're going to create clear value above and beyond their art to differentiate. themselves amongst all of the other artists. And so they wind up competing with other artists and they don't know their target market. So that's the process we teach in the program. And that's what you have to know in order to be effective in using these platforms. Now, what can you do right now? Share your mission, which I've given that assignment. And really, what technology do you need for that? Video calls, right? So you can use any number of things for that. You can use Zoom, you can use Facebook, you can use FaceTime, you can use Slack, you can use WhatsApp. There's a lot. I mean, it's a long list. Pick one and use it. And you don't need to master them all. I don't use them all. So anyway, just a little word about technology, because you also now own a technology company. Everybody here owns a technology company, and that shouldn't scare you. It should, it should excite you, and because it's an opportunity. And you guys in the Making Art, Making Money program you got a competitive edge because you're learning how to speak to your audiences on these technology platforms. Most artists are making a bunch of noise. They're trying to speak to everyone, so they wind up speaking and connecting with no one. Okay. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you. Does anyone have any specific questions? Rod says you are impressed with your cool attitude about technology. Mine is getting better. Then great, Rod. Progress, not perfection. I have someone to call if I have a question. Fantastic. Plus, I've got the Apple Mac store. Excellent. They're friendly. Yeah, they're great. They're really friendly. All right, so I don't see any questions, so I'm going to dive right in. So who do we have scheduled today to work with? We have Travis and we have Christopher. So Christopher, I'm going to bring you on first. Christopher hasn't even shown up. Okay. That's so Travis, I'm going to bring you on, and I think that you know the drill on what to do next. And so please, Travis, there we go.
Hello.
Hello, Dot. We can hear you, Travis. We just need to see you next. There we go. Hi, Travis.
Hi there.
How are you doing since the last time we spoke?
I'm doing good, I guess. Yeah, I feel pretty good.
Can you share 3 wins or three areas where you made progress? Let's start with that.
Yeah, I mean, so we had an assignment. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to save that?
Well, actually, I want you to share whatever you consider your 3 wins since we last.
Right. So, okay. So yeah, my 3 wins were definitely overcoming fear of reaching out to these people and having the conversation be weird. And why am I reaching out to them? And, it really actually ended up working very well to just say, hey, I'm doing my homework. And people are like, and I'm not selling anything. I just wanted to have a conversation with people, and people were grateful for that. So that was a huge win, because the more conversations I had, I found that it became substantially easier.
Yes.
So that's the first one.
That's huge.
Yeah. And it feels good to start to have those under my belt.
Did you feel icky or slimy or sleazy?
No. No, and actually before I met you last week, I had one conversation that I didn't initiate it the right way. And that one I was left with, ooh, that felt really like I was trying to get something from him. And that didn't feel good. So these conversations that I had were not like that. So, but it was really about overcoming my own doubts about, well, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? And it's also pointless because, we're in a recession or whatever's going on in the world.
Yeah, this is stupid. It's just why people are selling art right now.
Right. All of that. So the big one, that was probably the biggest one, is getting over the fear of sharing my mission. And also, I mean, what came up for me during the process was really, like, I avoid being seen. Like, I don't let people in that way usually. So it's much easier to talk about something rather than to share it with them, which is a little like there was a personal element of sharing my mission, sharing why it was my mission. and really just being in that space with people, which is new for me. Obviously, I have close friends and family members who know me a certain way, but also just some of them I hadn't even shared it with. So it
Oh,
was
great.
interesting to do that. Yeah.
One thing, there's a famous quote by Matisse, which is creativity takes courage.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
If you're an
Absolutely.
artist, everyone, guess what? You have to find your courage. And the way you find courage is you feel the fear. Don't
Yeah.
try to deny it and just go do it anyway.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And I think Anya had incredible social anxiety, and she's free of it now. And she also did a ton of Code to Joy exercises to get to that place. If that, I don't want to speak for you, Anya, but that's my understanding.
Well, ironically, I've distinguished 4 different Code to Joy moments and worked on those events specifically since I started in August. And the one that I'm at, that I got to just probably in February, was about a moment when I was in 3rd grade, and it was literally about sharing something very vulnerable with a bunch of kids, and they all made fun of me. And so I don't, I literally don't talk about. I like in that instant, I could see exactly like that being a barrier to what I'm doing right now, which is opening up and sharing something that's personal to me, hoping to touch other people, but being afraid at the same time that they're going to somehow reject me again.
I think that's why you became an artist.
It's quite possible, yeah.
So I really do, because a lot of artists become, especially like visual artists, they become artists because they had a trauma either at home or in school that shut them down
Mm-hmm.
from speaking their truth and from communicating.
Yeah.
So a way to, what a lot of people do is then they go silent and they pull their energy and their attention into making art, and that's how they speak, because it's not safe to speak otherwise. It's
Mm-hmm.
very common.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing you did was you shared your mission,
Mm-hmm.
you got past the fear, and you recognized there is this connection between this trauma. So for those of you who are not enrolled in the Making Art, Making Money program, one of the things that we work on in the first of 8 courses, it's called the Accomplishing course. We work on mindset. So I've partnered with my good dear friend, Dr. George Pratt, who is a noted performance psychologist. He's helped a lot of people you've heard of. And fortunately, he is very kind to me and he loves this program. So he has given permission for me to share what I've learned with him and to promote the use of Code to Joy within the program. So there are some amazing things that happen with my students as a result of doing the exercises. And I'm going to share I was on the phone with him a couple days ago, and he gave me another exercise that I'm going to share later. So remind me to do that. Okay. Is there any other things you want to share in terms of your wins?
Well, yeah, the other one was just overcoming, and it's kind of related to fear, but it's different, is like the resignation of just being like, well, this is kind of hopeless, like what, like there's a part of me that feels like, I had felt like, and I started to see that shift in just starting to share and kind of branch out and realize that there's not all this work for me to do so much, which I always go to this place of, oh, I need to just go in my studio, or I just need to create something that people want. And the work is actually, in a lot of ways, relationships. It's like connecting.
Yes.
People.
Yes. Relationships equal revenue. And
Yeah.
Andy Warhol knew this. John Singer Sargent knew this. Absolutely.
It's not about me working 80 hours a week and working then the next week more. And like, it's not, I mean, there's parts of that as well, but it just started to shift a little bit,
You
and
can't
it's like,
sell Jack unless you have
Right.
relationships.
Yeah. Yes.
Nothing's going to get sold if you don't have relationships.
Well, and what I realized last night in a conversation I had with someone was that this is the perfect time to be doing this, because
Exactly.
I was thinking, like, when this is all done and we're actually able to meet in person for the first time, people are going to be so emotionally elated to just reconnect with people.
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
teaching you to plant seeds right now.
Yeah.
I'm teaching you to survive right now so that you can thrive later. And
Yeah.
most artists, Travis, are going to do what you thought you might do initially, which is give up and do nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you guys, if you do nothing or if you just do some things, you're fucked. You're not going to make it. Art
Yeah.
galleries are going to close. They're already closed now. They're not going to make it. The artists who represent themselves well and serve a mission that inspires people, you guys are going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
Yeah.
going to gain ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And I realized that like I don't like to sow seeds. I like to reap the harvest, you know?
Yeah, everybody does. Yeah, everybody does.
So it's like I'm always looking for the shortcut to reap the harvest, but I'm like, actually, this is just as important, if not more important. And it also is something that I can control right now and
That's
I
right.
can work on.
Remember, yeah, going back to the circles of control that I shared, what do you have control over right now?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean right now, because you might have control
Yeah.
over something else tomorrow, but what do you have control over today? What do you
Right.
have influence over today, which you are influencing people by sharing your mission? And
Mm-hmm.
what don't you have control over? When you focus on your day in that hierarchy, then that middle circle of what you have control over expands, gets bigger, and you
Right.
feel it. You feel bigger and more powerful than you did before you were like, oh, I don't know if anyone wants to hear my mission, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
So great. All right. So let me just read some of the comments and then we'll get to any question you might have. Rod says, I think George Pratt is absolutely amazing. He is. Angie says, yes, absolutely. Welcome to the club. Yep. Okay. So what question do you have for today?
Well, I didn't. I guess I thought the one of the primary reasons because we met last week was to report
That's
back.
right. I told you. That's
you're
right.
you're my accountability partner.
I have to apologize. My brain is a little fried because I'm working overtime developing a whole new course for you guys.
Yeah.
On how to pivot. So just so you know, what I'm planning on doing, at least this is the plan so far, is it's actually going to be a workshop. It's not going to be like go through the quizzes and do it on your own. No. We're going to get shit done in a half-day live workshop online. All of my students. So get ready, everybody. It's coming. If you can't make it, we'll record it. Although I can't imagine how busy you are right now. So it's the perfect time to deliver it. So yeah, my brain's a little fried. Yeah, okay, so good. Travis did his homework and look how much better he feels, you guys. And you have planted seeds.
Right, yes. Yes. I had 11 of the 12 conversations.
Excellent.
Yeah,
and if your goal was like, if you didn't have that smarter goal of 12, how many would you have done?
Before I got on the call last week, I didn't even know what the next step was. So I was like, not going to do anything, which is what had been happening for weeks. And I was getting very frustrated. And you were like, listen, here's what you need to do. And that bit of clear direction was like, oh, I'm like, right. I have a step. I have a smarter goal. I can do 12 calls in a week.
Yes. And anybody else
Okay,
anybody else, any of my other students who are feeling like Travis was, and you're not sure of your next step, book a spotlight now and let's get you moving. And you don't even have to wait. All you gotta do is type in the damn chat and I'll bring you on. I don't want you sitting there lingering when I'm here to help. You just have to tell me. I'm not, I'm telepathic, but not that telepathic. Okay. So you gotta tell me if you need help. If you need help, it's your responsibility to ask for it. It's not mine. It's your responsibility. My responsibility is help you, but you got to raise your freaking hand. And if you've got a study partner who's clueless, don't ask them. Ask me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Travis, Jan said, I did not hear your mission statement. Okay, we don't have mission statements. Ah! There's no mission statement. Travis, did you read a mission statement when you were on the phone?
I did not.
No. No.
I mean, there are sentences that are strung together, but it wasn't just a slogan. It was a conversation.
So mission statements, artist statements, we don't do those in the Making Art, Making Money program. I want to be abundantly clear. Please, for the love of God, don't do it. Reason you don't want to do it is because they're devoid of emotion.
Sure, yeah.
Right. What's your product?
Emotion.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Whatever you call it. No, it's not whatever you call it. Don't ever call it. Words matter. Words represent your understanding. So if we call it a mission statement or an artist statement, that is very confusing to the people who are listening to this and confuses your understanding. So you're supposed to share your mission in conversation with people. It's meant to be spoken. What I recommend is you can write it out, but as long as it's a transcription, right? That it's actually not a statement that's been wordsmithed and copywritten. It's actually a quote of something that flies out of your mouth. Because Travis, what you probably started to notice as you were sharing your mission in conversation is
Hmm.
you're starting to like get a rhythm, right? And starting to say the
Yes.
same things.
Yes.
And so you'll get to a place where you're like, okay, I feel like this is solid, a solid share, and I can transcribe that. And when you're,
Mhm.
and when you're to that place, you can go ahead and do that. But just keep practicing, and also not just the mission, share why. So did you share why it was your mission too during these conversations?
I did. Yeah, I did. And
So
I
you
found
went
that
back to some of the lessons in your why.
correct. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I even shared with one group of people my incident that I distinguished with the Code to Joy exercises, because that even was very, like, I was like, this is what somebody asked me, they're like, why are you just sharing this now after all this time? And I was like, well, ironically, like one of the things that I've been doing in the program is also looking at what stopped me in the past. And I saw when I was in third grade and I went through this moment with
Right.
them, and it was the moment's very relatable, and
Yes.
when you're it was perfect,
Yeah. It draws
sharing the
people in.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is hard. I mean, maybe it's harder for men, I don't know. It's like I don't like to be vulnerable. I know women don't necessarily either, but I hate it. And it's like to go there and to admit something that is embarrassing, or you have some shame around it, or you feel whatever way. It's like but that's actually
That's where your
that's
power
what
lies.
people relate to that more than anything.
Yeah, and if you're not vulnerable, how the hell are you going to make any art that has any meaning? It's just going
True.
to be stiff and it's just going to be contrived. You have to feel it.
Hmm.
And to feel something means you have to be vulnerable. And you're in control. You don't have to share anything you don't want to share, but you know, honesty is the best marketing strategy. And you
Yeah.
have to employ it when you're selling art, because we're not selling goods or services. We can't use contrived marketing copy, and we just can't. It doesn't work for us. This is why we have had so many MBAs come through this program. Even though
Yeah.
they're very intelligent, educated individuals, they have not been able to figure out how to sell their art, because they've been trying to sell their art like you sell goods or services. And
Hmm.
that's not our product. People have to feel. You have to feel first and connect with your own humanity, and then your job is to help others connect with theirs, and it's not going to be everybody. And when you share your mission during this assignment, you'll figure out quickly who's resonating with it.
Hmm.
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, I could tell often in the conversation whether they were or whether they weren't when I started to share with them, because sometimes they were more. I mean, obviously people express differently, so some people were more engaged, but other people were a little more dispassionate because it wasn't really a topic that I think resonated with them, which is fine with me. Also, I didn't take
Yeah,
it as personal. It's more about just again building that.
right.
It was practice for me. If anything,
Yeah,
it was practice.
it's an iterative process, and this is the perfect time to do it. So excellent, good job. I
Mhm.
mean, you're showing you have a different energy about you today than you did
Yeah, I
the first time
definitely
you spoke.
I definitely feel more focused, and I feel more at ease around kind of the future of like what this looks like in the next couple of months and how this is going
Right.
to build and play out into something else.
Right. And when we have the new course, I think that will help you too. It's going to
Hmm.
be, I think the working title right now is Build Your Pivot or Create Your Pivot.
Okay.
And so we're going to talk about how to build your pivot, but it's going to be very much grounded in start with where you are right now with what you have.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're not in an advanced, you don't have a ton of Instagram followers, and you don't have a ton of knowledge about ads, that doesn't matter. Like, but if you do, then you'll take your next step there. So everything I teach is iterative. We're going to base it on where you are now. So that's going to include that whole frame of mind. I'm going to take that to the Build Your Pivot course, which I'm working on right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see if we've got any questions. All right. Brett says, sounds awesome, man. Makes me want to get out there and share. Excellent. And that's from a dude. Okay. So good. Anya, when you're vulnerable, people connect with you and with what you do, and they begin to listen to you and trust you. They identify with you and create relationships. Can I just tell you, I'll tell you a little story. When I was when I was interviewed by Alex Bloomberg from NPR, he's a freaking ninja. He's a ninja interviewer. He pulls stuff out of you, and he pulled things out of me that I have never even told some of the people who I'm closest to in my life.
Oh, I've listened to that. Is that the one where you talked about the police coming to your house?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I was
really, really touching.
Now while he's interviewing me, I'm on a worldwide broadcast, and I'm in a studio with an audience, and he's just ninja. He starts pulling all this stuff out of me, and he starts tearing up. And all I can think is, fuck, I'm making Alex Bloomberg cry. His producer is going to be pissed at me. So I need to tone down my story. I'm not going to tell all the details because I seem to be upsetting Alex Bloomberg, the voice of NPR radio that I've been listening to for freaking years. I was like conflicted about being that vulnerable. I was worried about it. I felt like, what the hell did I just say? I just spilled all the beans. Oh my God. I did. That's how I felt during the whole interview. And
it was very, very impactful though.
I got off the stage. There were people in the audience, and they all started coming toward me to hug me.
Mm-hmm.
And I got phone calls from people I never heard of. I got emails. Someone sent me a Lightbright app because they heard me talking about how much I loved Lightbright. And I mean, just even today, it just chokes me up how kind people were. They were just so kind and generous. Like, no one said, yeah, you stupid bitch, why didn't you leave that alcoholic? And no one said that.
Right.
No one said that. They were all so good and kind. And and then Alex, he had his producer edit the interview, and I stopped him in the hallway outside of the cafeteria, and I said, can I use this interview? And he said, you can do whatever you want with this interview. It's yours.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, well, I think I'm going to use it. But I was like, oh, do I really want to use it?
Yeah.
I didn't want to use it. But then like one of the co-founder of Creative Live, he said that was very powerful, what you just did. And I'm like, really? Because I made him tear up. That's like, isn't that bad? That's what I was thinking. So just trust me. I too, even though I'm teaching you this stuff, I struggled with it. But
I've heard the interview, and I have never been through that experience, and I teared up listening to it because it was so. I mean, you understood, you got exactly what happened, and you understood the dynamics that play out in these types of situations, and the travesty of it, and at the same time, it's like, and then you were talking specifically about how you created, what you've done so far out of, you were basically talking about that past moment and its relationship to the now. And it was exceedingly relatable. And I think that anybody who heard that would have that experience. And that's why it was so powerful, for exactly that reason.
Yeah. And I got to say, I mean, I was driving home from the studio, and I was thinking about all the stuff I had just shared. And then I thought, and then I got to a point, I was like, fuck it. It's out there now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just let it go. I'm like, well, you know what? It's the truth. It's the PG version of the truth. I didn't give all the horror details
Yeah.
because I didn't want to make Alex cry anymore. But I did. That was like tripping. Like, his producer is gonna kill me.
Yes. But it is true. It's the truth is the best, it's the best way to connect with people.
It is the best marketing strategy, and that's why you hear me saying it over and over and over again.
Hmm.
And if you listen to my interview with Alex Bloomberg, you'll understand why I'm asking you to go to these moments.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the interview, you'll hear me talking about a joyful moment, painful moment.
Hmm.
Okay. So I'm eating my own dog food, everybody. It's not just. Rod said, I listened to the interview and it made me decide to do the course. I trusted you and respected you for sharing that. Wow. Okay. You guys wondering why I'm asking you to do this stuff? Now you know. Here you go. Maria says that interview was one of the reasons I signed up for the program. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So there you go. And it was not comfortable. Let me tell you guys, it was not comfortable. All right, everyone. So it's a little bit over time. Was this helpful, Travis?
Very much so. And I'm going to
Good.
I've got an additional list. I got some referrals. I'm going to continue having conversations.
So continue to have the conversations. And while you have those conversations, now that you've had several of them, I want you to noodle on your how.
Okay.
And I want you to go and make sure that when you have these conversations that you are clear with these people. You are sharing your what, your mission, which is derived from your why, your purpose, and that you're having these conversations because you're hoping that they will inspire or inform your how. May I circle back to you to discuss my how, which is specifically how I intend to create clear value above and beyond my art in service to the mission I just shared with you.
That's a good. I tripped a little bit on that because people are like, well, what is it that you want from me? Because people they assume that you want something just by having the conversation many times, and I'd be like, well, really, it's just me. I'm having the conversation. I'm just kind of starting to connect with people here more locally because I moved to Dallas recently.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. But really, some people that did. I actually organically said what you just said, but I wasn't really kind of aligning that as sort of the next thing, and so
That is the next step, but
Yeah.
only if it's you've got an audience who seems to be interested, right? There's no
Right.
so
Yeah.
you have to trust your own perception of how this conversation is going, and that's why I don't do it on the phone because
We did it with video every
yeah,
call.
because most communication is body language and
Hmm.
facial expression, and you can't get that on the phone. So you need to do this on video. I'm giving you very, very specific prescriptive instructions on this, you guys, so you know exactly what to do.
Well, and also if they're on video, people can't be like cleaning the house and doing dishes. It looks pretty
Right.
rude. So like you have their attention versus it
Exactly.
being
That's
like,
another.
oh, I'm doing laundry while I'm talking to you, which
Yeah, I'm folding my towels. I'm getting my dog some dog food. So yes, there's another reason. That's the reason I do it. I say to do it this way is because you want to capture their attention, and you want to make sure you're landing. Mara says, I did a couple of people who refused to do a video call. Okay, well, maybe they're not a great fit for you. They don't sound very open, but it doesn't matter, Mara. So what? Go ahead and do them. See what you learn from it. Keep moving. Really, the smarter goal here. So let me distinguish. There's smarter goals, and then there's habits. Right now, what I said initially was the goal was 12. What I'm saying, I'm shifting my instruction. I'm saying this needs to be a habit. While we are sheltering in place, whether or not your state is doing that, and in San Francisco, we have to stay inside. We are sheltering in place, right? So here I am. So I'm suggesting that during this time, when people's emotions are heightened, everybody, when people are looking for love and connection and everybody, like, this is the freaking perfect time, because as soon as this breaks, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to get their attention and to get them on a video call. Right now, people need connection because there's so much physical distancing. We need to have, doesn't mean social distancing. And this particular exercise alleviates the social distancing and creates connection. There is a method to my madness. Please, for the love of God, if you're in this program, do this right now. Do one a day. So it's not going to be a goal. It's going to be a habit. One a day at a minimum. I mean, Mara's killing it. She's not waiting for, she's not doing one a day. She's doing as many as she can. That's, you know, do what you can, but she's a pretty good example. Now, when we get out of it, we'll look at what the next best step is, but that's very, 19. Very important. She did 19 as a so Mara gets the gold star.
Awesome.
From last week.
That's great.
Oh, Mara, says Anya. This is great. So if you're listening to this and you're not enrolled in the Making Art, Making Money program, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this because I care deeply about artists. If you do not learn how to pivot and protect and profit and do it quickly, you're going to be left behind. This is a very warm, welcoming, amazing community of artists who help each other. You can't do it by yourself. It's too hard. I mean, I'm enrolled in a program. I can't do it by myself. I can't do what I do by myself. I need help. And why wouldn't I? All these other people are smarter and ahead. Some of them are ahead of me. Some of them are behind me. Most of them are ahead of me at this point. But I draw strength from that, and it helps me stay focused. And I learn about things that I would never learn about on my own. And if I did learn them on my own, it would have taken me freaking years. So go to makingartmakingmoney.com. You'll see a little chat box in the lower right-hand corner. Send me a message if you want an application. I'm happy to help. If the application indicates that I can help you, we'll hop on a quick call to make sure I can. And if we'll go from there. But there is a process to applying. I just can't. I have to make sure I can help you. I don't want to take your money if I don't think I can help you. Mara says, Making Art, Making Money members rock. Calendly rocks, doesn't it? All right. Okay, everyone. Good job, Travis. Very proud of you. I'm so glad to see that you've got so much more confidence and focus than you did.
Thanks so much.
Good. Rod just said, come on, Mara, and thank you both very much. Respect and kindness to you both from Scotland. Yay! Where Rod is eating haggis. Is that what you're doing, Rod? He's wearing his kilt and he's eating haggis and making art. All right, I'll see everyone. Same bad time, same bad